Hi there, my name's Donghuap. So recently I had an argument with a friend of mine. It was about what champions are OP and what champions are difficult to manage. Now, he's in a much lower elo than I am, and he said that Katarina is completely OP. He said that Katarina is so cancerous that she has affected the League community in a more negative way than actual cancer. Now, first thing, he's very passionate about solo queue, okay? I basically just told him what anyone would have told him when giving advice on how to beat Katarina, which is just CC her. Just use your CC, chain it correctly, and shut her down in teamfights, and she won't be a threat. This seems to be the most common form of advice when people give other people advice on how to deal with Katarina. But he said to me that he only likes to play Vladimir and Cassid in mid lane. Two champions which are both very good in the mid lane, but neither of them have any form of real hard CC to stop Katarina. He said to me that players in his division are far too unreliable when it comes to actually CCing down Katarina. He said people either use their CC way too late, or they use their CC on someone else who doesn't really need to be CC'd. He also said that if he has to play a completely different champion which he doesn't want to play or doesn't know how to play, like Lulu or Lissandra, then Katarina is OP because you have to play only these specific champions in order to beat her. Now, while he is marginally wrong about how good Katarina actually is, there is some knowledge in this. Which is, if the only thing that you can do against Katarina is just CC her, then Katarina is probably a little bit OP. But here's the good news. That's not the only thing that you can do to stop Katarina. There are dozens of things that you can do to stop Katarina on champions with absolutely no CC. So, I'm going to go through all the strengths and weaknesses of Katarina, what she's looking to do, what her role is, and all that. I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do and all the things that you cannot do when playing against Katarina. But first, we're going to assume a few things about the Katarina that you're up against. 1, they can play a very safe early game. 2, they know how to team fight. And 3, they know how to roam. These are the 3 essential things to a Katarina player. Well, what is Katarina's job? What is Katarina's role? What is she looking to do? What best describes Katarina and Katarina players? Is Katarina really the personification of cancer? Is she a cancerous champion played by cancerous players? No. Katarina is not cancer. Katarina is closer to herpes. Katarina is basically herpes. One of Katarina's biggest strengths is her roaming. She gets around very easily, just like herpes. If she gets on top of one teammate, she'll likely get on top of another one. Katarina's playstyle and decision making is all about making quick decisions in the heat of the moment, which is how most people get herpes. And finally, herpes is a completely all or nothing champion. You either forget that she's there and don't even notice her, or you could be having the worst day of your life. So, how do you deal with herpes? How do you deal with someone that spreads so quickly, that gets around the map so easily? How do you beat something so fast? Use condoms. Wards are a lot like condoms. They're dick-shaped, they're very cheap, they're single use, they have different looks and different sizes, you can buy them in packages. Everyone knows that these things are important, but no one likes using them. Katarina is extremely OP in lower elos because low elo players never use condoms. They are young, dumb, and full of cum. Herpes' main job is to spread to other people. So by creating a vision barrier, you can help protect your team from getting herpes. Simple! Now, let's say that you can't get a vision barrier down. Let's say that their jungler is camping you and they're clearing out all of your wards. You can't get a good vision barrier, so what do? Communicate to people. Warn them that herpes is coming. Don't be a dick and tell them at the very last second when herpes is just arriving at bot lane. You should tell them about the herpes early on so that they have an adequate amount of time to respond to that shit. And remember to ping their lane. If herpes is going bot lane, ping bot lane. No one looks at the green MIA signs. If herpes is on her way bot lane, tell the bot lane that herpes is on her way. Communicating and telling people about the herpes will help prevent other people from getting herpes. Simple! Now, as for team fighting, a lot of people will say this to you when trying to justify Katarina nerfs. CC is useless because a good Katarina will just wait until you use your CC and then go in. Well, if a good Katarina never goes in if I have my CC up, then if I never use my CC, then she'll never go in, right? And if she goes in, I CC her and she dies. Simple? Now, a lot of people have complaints about her laning phase, saying that it's too strong because she doesn't have mana, she doesn't have a resource to burn, and she just basically has free abilities. Here's why Katarina's early game is actually not that good. Because Katarina is a reset champion, Riot has made her basic abilities marginally shittier than other mid laners. So if you're playing an assassin, assuming that you don't stand for the full duration of the ultimate, you can probably 1v1 her. If you're playing a mage, generally speaking, your wave clear will be better than hers. If you push the wave and shove Katarina to her tower, she won't be able to go and roam. Herpes won't be able to spread if it just stays in one place. Simple. Now, worst case scenario. Let's pretend worst case scenario, which is Herpes is extremely fed. You had a bad team fight and Herpes just burst all over your team. It happens. Herpes is extremely fed and will pretty much just burst out your backline. So, what do you do in this scenario? Group up as 5 and engage onto Herpes. What do you do in this scenario? In this situation, the best thing for you to do is to tell your team to completely group up and hard engage onto the Katarina. In a regular team fight, what she will usually do is poke from a distance, wait for you all to get relatively low, and then go in and burst down all of you. If you engage and go onto her, she will be forced to jump outside of the team fight and not participate in it. Basically, if Herpes is a big problem, you need to group up, engage, and focus her down. So remember guys, condoms, crowd control, and communication all counter Katarina. That's how you deal with Kat.